yet, but usually people log in and log on as we roll along. Good morning. Good morning. Hey, Patrick, what's happening? Good morning. Claudia. Hey, Russ, the man, the legend, the myth. Russ entered. How are you, Russ?
If I was any better, I'd be you, Tom.
Oh man, you're killing me. I see you got your shades on. If your future was your future's so bright, you have to wear shades, right?
I love it.
All right, we got Kristen. Good morning. Good morning. All right, all right. So hope everyone's having a great week after the 4th of July holiday. It was kind of a weird 4th. I mean, it fell on a Tuesday. So
Yeah.
everyone was kind of celebrating this last weekend, Saturday and Sunday. And then Monday was kind of a work day, and then back on the celebration Tuesday. But we all had fun. It was great. We had good times celebrating this amazing country, the independence and the 4th of July and all of that with our families and all that great stuff. Well, hey, today we've got a special guest. We've got Sergei Kucher. Serge, how are you today?
Tom, I'm doing well. How about yourself?
Hey, great. So, Serge, I'd love for you to share just a little bit about yourself, and let's just jump right into our content.
Yeah, most definitely. So a little bit about myself. I got into real estate in 2010. I've been doing this for 13 years now, and for all 13 years, actually 12 out of the 13 years was been real estate investing. So I don't do too much on the traditional side. I just do on the investing side. So that's really mainly flips. So we buy them, we sell them. I don't like to use the F word, flips. We actually renovate the homes. We add value. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about adding value to just on an investment perspective. But yeah, we've done, I think we've done actually over 1,500 homes in Northern California. We just branched out to Hawaii. So we're doing our first couple there. We got one in, that we're already halfway through, and we might be getting another one in contract. So it's been fun in real estate. It's the up and down, but as you continue to improve, it continues to get better.
Well, that's awesome. And I love that you have a project going on over in Hawaii. I'm going to have to go check that out and do an inspection for you, I think.
Most definitely. Yeah, we could do an open house together or something like that, you know? It's a pretty nice home. It's 5,500 square feet, 1 acre lot overlooking the ocean, the coast, and it's got like 2 ADUs in it. So yeah, most definitely. Let's do it.
Yeah, awesome. We'll play some golf while we're at it. Well, hey, I'm excited to jump right into the content. I know that you were just recently approved from EXP as an iBuyer, and also with your track record, if you could share a little bit more about the opportunity that we have in front of us, and also where you think this market's going. Let's go ahead.
Yeah. Well, I believe it's actually, you know, when I got in 2010, it was the market had just collapsed, right? The dust was just settling, and everyone was in a frantic state, and we had seen you know, that it wasn't doing too good. But you know what I realized then? I started looking, and I'm a numbers guy. I started looking at trends, and I kind of started looking at analytics, and I realized that there was still 1,000 transactions being done in that market in the Sacramento region. 1,000. The only difference is we had 10,000 homes in inventory. And so a buyer had their pick to choose from. And Tom, you remember those days. Those were the REO days, and those were the short sale days, and you know, all of that. It was the distressed property days. And so even though people told me, wow, you know, that was a horrible market to get into, actually we made more money then than we have ever before, because there was so much opportunities. There were so much opportunities. And so I think we always have to just adjust. And I think, Tom, you do such a great job of this, of adjusting to what the market is doing. We're not going to be able to send the trends, but we have to service the market, right? We have to service those clients. And right now we're in a bottleneck. Right now we're in a bottleneck because we know rates are high, prices are still high, affordability is at an all-time low, and we have inventory at an all-time low. So prices can't come down because inventory is super low. buyer demand is low because affordability is low. So we're in this bottleneck. And I believe the thing that's going to happen, or if the government allows it to happen, is that we need some people to start, that some people that are financially distressed, they're going to need to give up their homes. Now, hopefully they don't go through a foreclosure, and hopefully they reach out to, one of the agents on this team and to a real estate agent and do the right financial decision. But we're seeing that, I think about a month ago, I was told that they're starting to lift the forbearances, or they're starting to start the forbearance process again. They're starting to start the foreclosure process again. And so I think that's the only thing that's going to undo this bottleneck, is that we do need some people to start putting their homes on the market. We know that right now that 90% of homeowners have a 5% or lower interest rate, 90%, which means even if someone was to say, hey, I'm going to downgrade, I'm going to downsize, it's just the two of us, it's just me and my wife. I don't need a home for $700,000. I don't need 2,500 square feet. I'm going to go get a house at 1,200 square feet for 500,000. We know with them having a 3.5% interest payment and the 7% interest that they're going to get right now, their payment's still going to be the same. So they're not going to do that because it's not a smart financial decision. So I think the thing that's going to undo this bottleneck is that we are going to start seeing some financially distressed clients calling us. We're already seeing that ourselves. We do a lot of Google advertising. We do a lot of postcards. We've had the most calls in the last month and a half for, hey, I have 3 months or otherwise I'm going to start losing my home. And so I think with the COVID epidemic really in the rear view mirror and the government starting to lift these guidelines and sanctions that they had, I think that's where we're headed. And I think us as agents, we have to be able to pivot that way. I think it's, and we have to be able to educate ourselves, kind of like what it was in 2010. Hey, how do we deal with short sales? I've seen a couple. I've actually had a couple short sales that we had to work on. How do we start dealing with the banks? Because now I believe they're going to start playing a role.
Absolutely. Well, I totally agree. And I love the fact that you said that, yes, there are still transactions happening because a lot of buyers, a lot of sellers, and then even a lot of agents, they get into the mindset, well, nothing's selling right now. No, Look at the market, look at the inventory, look at the statistics. Homes are selling. And I always go with the 5 Ds with the sellers that, because of a life event, they have to sell. The 5 Ds: death, divorce, diplomas, diapers, and the daily grind. So those are the homes that are selling. And so we just need to continue to have more conversations to reach the people that are more motivated and they have those life events.
Yeah. What's one thing that's interesting is because I list our properties, the ones that, we have, and I believe I have 7 listed right now. We actually just put all 7 into contract this past weekend. And all of them took 2-3 weeks to sell. And we priced them aggressively. And when we priced them aggressively, they were not selling. And so as soon as I did $10,000, $20,000 price cuts, I sold all of them, right? But what's interesting is that no one even called me. So I had a home priced in the South area, $430,000. I knew we priced it a little high, but we know we do a great remodel. And so we pull permits, we put a 1-year warranty on our product. And so I priced it high thinking, hey, low price point, maybe I'll get a bite. I got like a couple showings for 2 weeks. I got I think 3 showings. As soon as I dropped it to 400, I literally same day had about 4 showings and I went into contract at 410. And so I want to even encourage you guys as agents. If you see a home is overpriced, don't be scared to show it to your buyers. And then even encourage, hey guys, they are 20, 30 grand overpriced. Let me talk to the agent. Let's see what the motivation factor is. Because we've gotten into this mindset like, oh man, I have to come in at list price for sure or above. And that's no longer the game, especially with rates even climbing up this past week. That is no longer the game. And I'm not saying to make it like, hey, just lowball, for the sake of it. But I believe in every deal, there's 20, 30,000 to be negotiated. Because if a seller's been educated properly, they have to understand it is a buyer's market. If you have a buyer, you take it and you run.
Well, that's a great point. And one of the things that I thought about is it's all about creating value and also creating an opportunity with our clients, with our database, and with the people that are out there to get them to raise their hand. Because social media, the media, and news, I always say it does more to terrify than to clarify. And so
Yeah.
what that does is that creates a fear. And when people
Yeah.
have a fear, they hunker down, they don't do anything. And so that's, that's the worst thing they can do. So we need to have, I always believe that marketing, there's 3 keys to marketing. You have to have a great message, you have to have a great audience, and then you have to have frequency over and over and over. And what's been working great for us lately is the instant offer. And you may have heard me on the radio. Hey, I have a guaranteed sale. If I don't sell your home, I'll buy it. I have an instant offer. So that's just obviously the hook to get in front of people, to meet with them and share with them what all of their options are. And I let them know, hey, I can get you 3 cash offers within 3 days. And Serge is one of my investors, one of my clients that, that he's able to make a cash offer. So let's talk a little bit more about how we all can leverage you and your company, Serge.
Oh, I appreciate that, Tom. I truly believe what you mentioned is we had to add value. I never believed in the investment model that said, let's put lipstick on a pig. I never believed in that model. I've seen that model fail time and time again. I've seen investors that have tried that model fail after a few flips because it doesn't add value, right? You literally, as it says, you're just covering up the problem. And we know that in real estate, it's like saying, hey, I'm going to take a listing and put a for sale sign in your front yard. That's not doing anyone any service. And so we as an investment company, we actually try to add value. We do add value because we do everything with permits and everything with a licensed contractor. We'll take homes, and we know majority of Sacramento is built in the 50s, 60s, 70s. And those floor plans a lot of times are outdated. They're not open. They don't have great concepts. Sometimes they're hodgepodge. They're very choppy. And so we will go in there and truly rearrange the floor plan. We'll make it a more modern floor plan. For us to move a couple walls is not a big deal. Even for us to move some load-bearing walls, when you have engineers and framers on staff, it's not a big deal. And so one of the ways we add value, and this is something that you guys can just kind of have for future reference, is we take a lot of 3-bedroom, 1-baths, and we'll make them into 3 2s. Because we understand right there, the buyer market just went up $30,000 to $50,000. And so we actually just put a few in contract off of Watt and Del Paso Manor over there, Del Paso Country Club. Really nice, older neighborhood, established neighborhood. It was a 3-1, 1,200 square foot, and we're going to be making it into a beautiful 3-2, rearranging the floor plan. We are purchasing that. This was on the market, actually. We are buying it for $340. And we believe resale is going to be about $550. We're going to put about $100,000 into it because we want to do a good job. And so, for agents, what I want to be is I want to be a service to you. I say I want to be your back pocket cash investor. What that means is I understand you have your business model, and I just want to be another branch that can produce fruit on that business model. And so I also understand if you are aware that you have an investor, when you go see those financially distressed clients that they need to sell now because they have bills that are due up and they need a rent back and they need someone to work with their financial situation. We can do that. We do rent backs. We do all of that stuff. Or if there's now a distressed property, right? Because my buyer is either they're financially distressed or the home is distressed. And so we take those on. For us, no problem's too big. Actually, the bigger the problem, the better. Foundation issues, mold, all of that. Hoarder houses, things like that, where most agents in the previous markets, they're like, you know what, I'm too busy. I don't even want to take on this kind of client. I don't know how to service this kind of client. I don't have vendors that can service this kind of client. Guys, we want to be your vendor. We truly want to be a vendor. If it's a hoarder and there's 7 dumpsters that need to be done, we'll deal with it. We have all of those connections. This is what we do for a living. And so we just want you to be aware, because I understand when you're aware it's kind of when you're shopping for a new car. I mentioned this before, and all of a sudden you want to go and buy yourself a Lexus, and once you notice, once you have that in your mind, you start noticing those Lexuses everywhere. Before you never even noticed them. And so I want you just to be aware, hey, you have a back pocket cash investor and property sales group. We'd love to work with you. We're in the EXP network. We love what EXP is doing. We love what EXP is all about the network as being your net worth. And so we want to be that vendor for you that can service your distressed sellers, whether they're financially or they're physically, their property is physically distressed.
Well, that's great. So let's share a little bit more about some opportunities and some different ways to find these neglected clients. I mean, obviously, just look for neglected properties. I mean, when you drive by a property that has deferred maintenance or it's vacant, man, just be like a fish swimming upstream to find out who the owner is, talk to the neighbors, find out how you can get in contact with a decision maker, check tax records for delinquencies. You can have your title company help you out with that. Obviously properties with delinquent mortgages, there's sources and ways to do that. Probate, there's REO, bank owned, there's, out of state owners, there's just online. So maybe Serge, you can share a few more ideas for all of us to find these distressed properties so you can buy them. I've done it where I've hired 18-year-olds to just drive streets, to drive neighborhoods. And clearly you want to pick and choose your neighborhood. You want to choose the older neighborhoods. So but like I said, majority of Sacramento would qualify. You're talking about homes that are built in the 50s, 60s, 70s, because the roof life expectancy is already up. The HVAC needs to be changed out. Their windows need to be changed out. So I've even had, I call it driving for dollars, where I've hired 18-year-olds and I've said, hey, I need you to just write down every address as you drive these streets and then we're going to put that in our mailing list. And those have actually had the best responses because those mailing lists are not bought. They're organically made. And really just being aware, because in Sacramento, we have a lot of distressed homes. I mean, if you drive these neighborhoods, we have, and I'm not even talking about like where you need to be in Del Paso Heights. We don't do a lot of deals in Del Paso Heights, but we do some, but I'm just talking about just driving a neighborhood and saying, okay, and to have a business card or to even have a little flyer in your car and like you said, to pull over and put something on the door if they allow for it, and if there's a no soliciting, clearly don't do that. But to do that, we do that all the time. I literally have those packets with me in my truck, and if I see it, I'll pull over. It literally take a minute. I don't even knock. I just put it on the flyer, and that's it, and go on with it. So I think there's a lot of different creative ways, but everything you mentioned, most definitely. Even when we're holding open houses and neighbors come in, and most of them be like, "Oh, I wish I could sell, but our house is in such horrible condition. I need a contractor." We know right now to remodel a kitchen is $30,000-$40,000. To do a roof right now is $15,000 to $20,000 minimum. Actually, HVAC prices just went up. Bare minimum is about $18,000 to $20,000 because the cost of it alone is around $10,000. And so we know it's hard for anyone to do a remodel unless they have some equity or unless they have some cash in the bank account. Well, that's a great point. And you are the expert at helping clients go through this process and let them know, and you share with them what all of their options are. And so let's talk a little bit now about the financial institutions and what they're offering, because back in the day when, I bought, hundreds of flips from 2000 to 07. And at that time, the banks weren't really offering very many options. And then after 2007 to 2011, they were just foreclosing left and right. They did not offer any options whatsoever, maybe a short sale once in a while. But then now, of course, there are a lot of options that the banks are offering. There's, the loan modification, there's a moratorium, there's different. So let's talk a little bit about that, Sergey. What are you seeing the banks, and how can we be an advocate for the sellers, just sharing with them what their options are?
Well, we've seen reverse mortgages, right? The older you get in age, you have the option for reverse mortgages, and then, like you said, loan modifications. But it's going to be hard with if they already have a 2 or 3% interest rate and they're defaulting on that. It's going to be hard for someone to do anything. So I do think you need to educate your buyers, or sorry, your sellers. Is you are the professional. So when you go to a doctor, you're going to a professional, and you tell them your symptoms. And we've noticed, we ask them, we don't try to sell them on anything. We ask them, hey, what is your goal? What is your goal that you're trying to do? And we're noticing some of them that are maybe in retirement, and they're saying, hey, California is just too expensive. My social security is not keeping up. And, I want to move to Idaho, or I want to move to Texas, or a different state. And so we truly just sit down with them and say, hey, what is the goal that you're trying to accomplish? And then we work it that way. And I think we have to be we are the professionals in the real estate market, and we are professionals with sometimes when it comes to knowing the financial structure that's going out there. And so I think the best sales is to solve people's problems, and just to listen to them, not to try to sell them, but try to listen and just say, hey, here's, as a professional, what I would do. And if you're analytical, have those numbers ready. If you're relational, have those vendors ready. And it just say, here's how we can help. And then I think and that's what we've noticed. The last few homes that we bought, they were thinking to do a reverse mortgage, and I said, here's what's going to happen. It's like, I really just want to get out of this house, and if you could, we're actually closing, and we're doing a 3-month rent back for her. We have money set aside in escrow from her proceeds, so we're safe, and we're working with her. It was a situation. She actually, just to kind of give you a little bit of a insight, where she needed $10,000 to cover some back due bills. I think it was utilities and something else that was just really going about to close her services. So we went into contract, and we put a $10,000 deposit. So this is something not a lot of people know about. This is like inside information right now, but it's legal. So we did a $10,000 deposit in escrow, and we passed it through to her. We right away passed it through to her. And so escrow didn't hold it. We passed it right through to the seller, and she was able to get her $10,000 right away within 2 days. And so then she was able to pay off her bills. And now that gave her those 2-3 months that she now can start setting up her move, of course. So we're going to close, and we're going to give her a rent back just to help her with the move. And so I think there's creative solutions that we as an investment company, we're very educated buyers. So, most buyers, to try to convince a buyer to say, hey, can you pass through your deposit to the seller? To be like, no way, are you kidding me? We're educated enough to know, look, as long as it's done through escrow, as long as there's written confirmation, as long as there's a paper trail, we are okay. We are okay. And of course, there's always the what if, and what if she chooses not to go through on the sale and all that. But there's always the what if. We have to be creative in how to financially solve their problems. And so I truly see credit card limits, as they're saying, are through the roof right now. So I believe people's credit card limits are starting to dwindle, and they're going to be looking for financial flexibility. They're going to be looking for financial options. And let's be honest, most people's wealth is in real estate. So they're going to have to do something with their real estate.
100%. Well, and I love the fact that you ask questions. You start off with, what is your goal? How can we serve you? How can we help? As an advocate, people don't really care how much you know until they know how much you care. And they're really looking for an advocate, someone they can know, like, and trust, and share with them, what all of their options are. So I know we have Russ on here. Russ, did you have any ahas or nuggets, and how have you leveraged and worked with Serge in the past successfully?
Yeah, Serge is a great buyer. I don't know if he and I hate it when you're doing your Zoom on your phone, because I got a call in the middle of it that I had to take for 2 minutes. But Serge has a 3X program. So if he hasn't talked about that, that is a very successful way if you're in the Northern California area, or now Hawaii. And I know Serge is trying to move into other areas, so I would contact him if you're somewhere within flying distance of Sacramento, where if you bring him a home that he buys, not only do you make the commission when he buys it, but he will list it with you. And then he'll give you one of the ones that he sourced himself to list again. So you end up with 3 commissions if you work with Serge. And I'll say an aha that I had, which, I didn't think about it till he said it, but I've done a number of times, is if you come from a place of service when you're doing these, I do a ton of flips just like you, Tom, not as many as 1,500 in the last 11 or 12 years or whatever Serge has done. That's crazy. But I've done enough to know that if you come from a place of service and you solve that seller's problems, and it's a win-win for everybody, you get a lot more deals done. So I love the fact that he's creative.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. So we only have a couple of minutes here. Does anyone have any questions for Serge? We've got a couple minutes, rapid fire. Let's get 1 or 2 nuggets or ahas or questions. Let's go.
I had a question for him. How do we send him like a property? Is it through the what is it, the cash buyer thing that EXP has, or is there an email or phone number?
Yeah, Serge, what's the best way to get a hold of you? So someone has a distressed property and they'd like an offer. What's the best way for them to reach out?
We are on the iBuyer program, the portal. I haven't gone on the portal, so I don't know how it looks or where we come up. But we also, I don't know if I can leave an email on here or even a phone number. We do pick up our phone anytime you guys call, so we most definitely pick up our phones.
Okay, awesome. If you don't mind, just plug in your phone number there. That would be great. So few agents pick up their phone and answer their damn phone. That's the number one complaint that we hear is communication and answer your phone. Any other questions? Anyone else have a question here while we have Serge? Okay, so Serge, at the beginning of this, you shared a little bit about what you're seeing in the market, and I'm actually really impressed with what you said. But you said right now we're seeing higher prices, low inventory, affordability is high, and you said a few other things that you're seeing currently in the market. What was that again?
Well, we're just having a bottleneck, and I would say because we do a lot of buys and we do a lot of listing, is I think most buyers agents right now have been really trained that if it's listed at a certain price, there's no room for negotiation, and that's not true. I was just mentioning we literally just put 6 into contract this past, I think, 4 or 5 days. And we had them all overpriced a little bit. And as soon as I did about $10,000 to $20,000 to $30,000 price cuts and different price points between $400,000 and $750,000, as soon as we did those price cuts, we went into contract on all of them. And what was interesting for me is I was like, you know what? If I was a buyer's agent and I know that home is overpriced and it's been a week or 2 on the market, of course, call the agent, figure out what's going on, and then show it and say, look, here's where I'm coming in at. I can be, you're listed at 550. We can be at 510. And I think there's a negotiation that you can have now that you could not have 6 months ago, because we've been trained. If I don't come in at list price or if I don't go above, we're not going to get it. That's no longer the case. That is no longer the case.
Well, very good point. So awesome. Well, hey, Serge, thank you so much. Appreciate your time. And if anyone has any questions, feel free to reach out to Serge. Well, thanks everyone. Hey, now we got our inspiration, time to put in the perspiration. Have a great weekend, everyone. Let us know if you need anything. Thanks again. We'll see y'all later. Have a good weekend. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye now.